Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. Touchdowns on liquid air, on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
What's going on, good people? Welcome to the Pro Fan Talk. It is Thursday. I am your guy. You are on my team, and I appreciate you. This is the Pro Fan Talk because we don't have basketball tonight. We don't have WNBA. The gap has started. The break is upon us. Are we going to have support groups for WNBA withdrawal? Is that a thing? I don't know. We will have to see. Look at this. St. Maurice is first out the limo. Didn't she just lose a 5-11 team? Must be talking about Caitlin Clark, obviously. Yes, she did. Yes, she did lose to a 5-11 team. That's the way it goes sometimes. That's the way it goes. But I appreciate you being first out the limo, man. I appreciate your question. Stick around and ask a whole bunch more. Kevin the PRF, as usual. I appreciate you. Daniel Berry Sports, as usual. Cody K, Daniel Berry. Matter of fact, man. Daniel, you've been bright and early, bro. You've been bright and early. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm in the wrong damn account. Hold on there. Let me see. Thank on it. That's what we're looking for. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. And let's go right here. And let's go to my channel. And Daniel Berry, I'm about to hook you up, bro. Because I appreciate when people log in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the chat, and Daniel Berry, I'm going to give you a wrench, bro. Because that is what consistency is. That means you are on the squad and you are for real. And it is appreciated. It is appreciated, man. So thank you. You got the wrench. That means you are official. And I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your voice, man. But let's keep this going. Who else? Cody K is in here as usual. Florida Channel catfishing. Listen, Florida, if you can send me up some of that catfish, I would gladly put it in my smoker and smoke it. But no, she didn't lose to a 5-11 team. The team lost. I mean, we splitting hairs. It is what it is. We know what the time it is. They lost. They had a game. They had an opportunity to win a game, and they didn't. They couldn't seal the deal. They have. You can blame it on Kevin PRF. He's in the chat. You can blame it on him because I believe he mentioned something. Was that game, or am I thinking, Kevin? Am I thinking of a different game when you mentioned something about a blowout? No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That was a New York game when they were blowing them out, and then that second half happened, and I was like, "Come on, man, you can't jinx them like that. That wasn't right." Yeah, Sides has been, we all know what Sides is. Let me say it like this. All right, let me say it like this. You're not wrong. You're not wrong when it comes to Sides. However, I am a firm believer that the coach can only take you so far. Now, we all know some of her in-game decisions and some of her substitutions leave a lot to be desired. We all know that. However, when them girls are on the court and they missing layups in the paint, or they're dropping passes, or they get the pass but they can't convert, things like that, or they get a stretch where can't nobody hit a freaking mirror in the bathroom, that ain't on Christie's sides. When you do get the open shots, and I understand, and at least this is my opinion on it, I understand that Caitlin Clark is trying to be unselfish in so many ways because she wants to be a passer. But she's passing up open shots. And when she's doing that and they don't hit the shot, what can you say? I want her to either your first option should be Kelsey Mitchell, because Kelsey Mitchell is the best three-pointer on the team. Technically, if you just want to look at statistically, it would be Katie Lou, because I think Katie Lou is like 30, almost 38%, but Katie Lou doesn't take a lot of shots. So I'm kind of taking her out the picture. Caitlin Clark has got like almost 200 threes. She got a lot. And then Kelsey Mitchell's got a lot. And Kelsey Mitchell has a better percentage. So if Caitlin is going to be distributing, I want to see her kick it to Kelsey Mitchell first. I don't want Nalissa Smith or Aaliyah Boston shooting threes. Aaliyah Boston's got a pretty good three-point range, three-point percentage. I think Aaliyah Boston is shooting like 40% or something like that, 47. But she's only taking like maybe 40 shots, if that. So I'm looking at volume and who shoots. Aaliyah Boston is supposed to be down low, not shooting threes. Nalissa Smith is supposed to be down low. And it seems like teams are playing them, get the ball to Katie Lou, get the ball to Lexi Hall, and let them shoot. But don't let Kelsey Mitchell shoot, and don't let Caitlin Clark shoot. And if we keep it at 100, Caitlin Clark was cold as ice in that game. She was what, 3 for 11? And then she started taking it to the rack, and then she started scoring points. Yeah, Bobby. It looks like we're gonna beat that dead horse tonight, bro. You ain't wrong, but we gonna beat that dead horse. But I mean, you're not wrong. They're not gonna fire her. Although LeVar did make a good point the other day. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he did make a good point the other day when he said if they fire Christy Sides now, you got a month to get used to whoever you bringing in. My thing is, whoever you bringing in better be a ringer. Like they better be. You don't want to bring somebody in as an intern and you're about to make the playoffs. That means you're looking for like a movie type ending, and you don't want that. When you got a real opportunity to make the playoffs and see what they can do. But they play sometimes, a lot of times they play horrible in the fourth. Their second halves are killing them. They come out, and even we've been talking about this the last couple games ever since that New York game. They came out against New York. They ran. They had an up-tempo, fast-paced first half, and they were blowing New York out of the water, and then they stopped. And in the NFL, that's what we call playing not to lose. You don't keep your foot on the gas. You start playing not to lose the game, and then you end up losing the game. So, yeah, man. See, man, Wheeler and Wallace. And let me be honest with you, I'm not so stuck on Wallace. Wallace can get in there and do some things every now and then, but Wheeler is a problem, in my opinion. You already know, as soon as Wheeler comes in the game, it's like nothing happens until she turns the ball over first. And it's like, like me and Kev, that's a running joke. It's like, all right, Erica Wheeler's in the game. You know what's about to happen. So, Florida, I do like the Cheryl Miller decision that she's going to coach the All-Star team. I think that'll be phenomenal. I'm interested to see it. Definitely interested to see Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese playing together. That should be fun. I am disappointed that they are not going to be in the 3-point contest. I wanted to see Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu go at it. That's what a lot of people were coming to see. Let's be real. That's the show everybody was coming to see. So I'm not sure why they opted out, because it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. Although I think it's hard to even say this. I don't want to say that it was short-sighted by Ionescu and Caitlin Clark to not be in the 3-point contest. Because in my estimation, it would have been better if they would have been in the 3-point contest and not played in the All-Star game. Because the 3-point contest is an event. But I think they made their choice. Sabrina's going to the U.S. Olympic team, and quite frankly, I think Caitlin Clark just wants to rest a little bit and take it all in. She got to play. I really wish she would have got into it. That'd have been fun. I don't actually think she would have won. I think I was looking at the list of who's in it. I'm gonna see if I can find that on my other screen here, because that was on the WNBA Twitter feed. And my money's on Dolson from the Mystics. There it is. All-Star game. Let me take y'all into that. There we go. Yeah, I like Cheryl Miller coaching the team. That was a good decision. I saw one. There we go. That's it. So we got Stephanie Dolson, Alicia Gray, Jonquel Jones, Marina Mabry, Kayla McBride. My money's on Dolson. I think it's going to come down to Dolson and McBride. But Jonquel Jones is a pretty good 3-point shooter. I mean, all of them are. Mabry, I don't know what Mabry's going to do. It's interesting with that whole situation with her getting traded. I want to know why. I want to know, did they discuss a trade? I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Let me see. Wheeler Wallace. A month before. Yeah. Right now, offense now she plays 11 games, 20 days while adjusting. Yeah. That's a fair point. And I remember saying that at the beginning of the year, like, fatigue is a real thing, man. Fatigue is a real thing. Like, people don't understand. Like, I know it's different than what we used to experience in the NFL, but when you got that bye week, man, that bye week was something special, because you get beat up and you get that extra time off just to let your body heal. And mind you, I played in the 90s, so we didn't have the cold therapy technology and, you know, what they're doing now with massage and the chiropractic help. And like, we didn't really get into all of that. We had chiropractors, and the cold tub was literally a tub with ice in it. You didn't have cold therapy and cryo tubes and just the, oxygen chambers. And we didn't have none of that stuff. You just rested, went to sleep when you got home, and didn't do nothing. Maybe you went out and played golf to walk around a little bit and loosen yourself up. But for the most part, you didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing at all. So I think it was just a welcome. She needs the rest, period. And I ain't mad at her for that. Can't get mad at her for that. So, but it'll be fun, but it's definitely going to be a letdown with her not being in it. I'm even curious if she's going to be like on the sideline. So, so we'll see what happens. The hate's gonna come with it. She's been handling that better than anybody, because she keep it, she keep it focused and keep it moving, man. Everybody want to see that. Yeah, Arike is my favorite player right now. My favorite player right now is basically a tie between Arike Ogunbowale and Jewel Lloyd. Those are my two favorite players. They're in my top 5. Arike, Jewel Lloyd, Jonquel Jones. Sabrina Ionescu, and Kalia Copper. Those are my top 5 favorite players right now. And I'm saying that not name Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and I'm putting them to the side because I do content about them every day. So I'm kind of putting them off to the side. So, and I like Asia. I like watching Asia, but I make the joke like watching Asia Wilson is kind of like cheating. It's almost like back in the 80s, when people started watching basketball again, and then all of a sudden everybody was a Bulls fan. Everybody was a Michael Jordan fan. You know what I mean? You live in if you lived in any other NBA city and you were a Michael Jordan fan, that didn't make sense. But the way he came on the scene and Sports Center and all of that kind of stuff built up, you had a lot of that. And it's the same way with Caitlin Clark. You're going to have a lot of Caitlin Clark fans in all these other cities. Every time they play away, there are a ton of Caitlin Clark / Iowa fans wherever they go. Wherever they go. So, Arike is different. Listen, I would love to see Mark Jackson. I would love to see Mark Jackson as a coach. Cheryl Miller, I wouldn't mind seeing Cheryl Miller. I don't know about Lisa Leslie. Does Lisa Leslie have any coaching experience? Did she coach before? I mean, I know she played, obviously, and she got gold medals and stuff, but I don't know if she's been a coach. So, but I would love to see Mark Jackson would. I would love to see Mark Jackson. I'm just saying, I would love to see that. I wanted the Sixers to hire Mark Jackson, but I don't think they can. I don't want him to be a charity case. When I say that, I don't want him to be doing it as a charity case for the WNBA because let's keep it real. The WNBA could not pay that salary, especially he coming from the NBA where he's making 10, 15 million a year. And now you're going to take that pay cut in the W. It would be strictly for the love. Strictly for the love. So, yeah, I saw that Erica Wheeler enter herself in the skills. Kev, I'm gonna be watching that, Kevin. That's gonna be funny to watch. I can't wait because I wonder if they got a section about turnovers. I know that it ain't right, but still. As her skills dancing on the bench. She'll be back after the break better than ever. If her 3-point shot is back to normal, how anyone going to stop her in the fever? We will have to wait and see. I mean, yeah, she had a couple games where she went off with 5 and 7 threes and stuff like that, but she just has to be more consistent with it. She's got to find her shot. I still think she has the mindset of all or nothing. Excuse me. And meaning that she's always going to take the three. And she doesn't do mid-range shots. She's had opportunities, but she don't do it. So I wish she would take more mid-range shots. It looks like she don't work on them at all. Because she has opportunities, but she tries so hard to get all the way back outside. All the way back outside. And everybody's always passing the ball around the perimeter trying to get somebody open. Or somebody's cutting to the lane, you pick and roll, and she does the passes. The only person that has like the mid-range shot is Nalissa Smith. And she's just not very good at it. Aaliyah Boston, sometimes she hits that shot from the free throw line. But I need somebody. Honestly, the best example is Kennedy Carter. Kennedy Carter is the best example because she doesn't shoot many threes. And when she hits that shot, Arike Ogunbowale takes mid-range shots too. But when Kennedy Carter gets to either corner of the free throw line, she pulls up and takes that shot. and most of the time she hits it. And she's got that move where she'll cross you over, take off and pass you, and while you're playing catch up, she stops and pulls up. And depending on how close she is to the basket, you will either go by her and she will go underneath off the backboard, or she will pull up and hit you with a 10 to 12 foot jumper, and usually makes those. That's why her percentage is so high right now. Kennedy Carter, that's on one of my topic lists, man. Kennedy Carter should be an all-star. Like, stop playing. I know nobody like her for what happened with when she knocked Caitlin Clark down. Like, I know everybody still been out of shape about that, but at the end of the day, that girl should be an all-star, period. That girl is balling, and her track record caught up with her in this regard. If that never had happened, if the whole Caitlin Clark thing had never happened, I believe she still would have ended up coming off the bench, going from a six-man to a starter, and I still think she would have been leading the sky in scoring. So she would have been an all-star, and she is shaking everybody. She making everybody look silly. But she, that track record, everybody was looking at that, and then what she did and and that was at the height of, are they trying to hurt Caitlin Clark and all of that kind of stuff. And it wasn't a good look, period. It was not a good look. And for the most part, since then, she's kept her nose clean. She kept it on the court. She really ain't said too much of nothing. She came out and made those comments about Angel Reese the other day, but she just defended her teammate. But other than that, and she made the comments, the dumb comments about, besides shooting threes, what else does Caitlin Clark do? Well, you're going to learn today. Everybody did. Everybody did. That's why, that title, Caitlin Clark is exposing her WNBA bullies to the truth of her game. And she got game to spare. She has got game to spare. So, we got Caitlin still breaking records, and I think it's still funny how it seems like, I know it's not the case, but sometimes it seems like that every day is some new record or something that pops up. I was joking to myself when she slammed the water bottle. I was like, this is the first time a rookie in WNBA history has slammed a water bottle and it went that high in the air. Like, I'm thinking of stuff like that because it's like, it seems like every day is some type of record or mark that she's reached that nobody really, some are legit and others are like, nobody really thought about that. You know what I mean? This is the first time that Caitlin Clark has scored 20 points or more while chewing, Bubblicious bubblegum, watermelon flavor, and got down to the fourth piece. Crazy stuff like that is just always something, man. JP, you like that? It's always something, man. Bobby, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Welcome to the family, man. Welcome to my squad. Yeah, matter of fact, I just got my invite. Just got my official invite about an hour ago. Got my email that I'm going to try to go to Eagles camp with the alumni on, I think this 29th. I got to research that date. Got to second guess that. Give a second look to that date. So I'll be up there. So that should be fun. Clark and Carter might be the best players in the league, not on super stacked teams. Yeah, I think Aaliyah Edwards gets lost in the shuffle a little bit because she's playing great as a rookie, but nobody's looking at Washington. So I'm trying to think of Rickea Jackson. In my opinion, I think Rickea Jackson would probably be number 3 in Rookie of the Year voting. But she just doesn't play quite enough minutes. She's averaging like 25 minutes a game, whereas Angel and Caitlin are averaging. I think Angel's is like a little above 30, and Caitlin is like 35, almost 36 a game. So if you give a player an extra 10 minutes of playtime, the points are going to go up and the stat line has to go up because you just got more time on the court. I think Aaliyah Edwards is up there. She just, like I said, she just gets overshadowed. She's in a worse situation than Caitlin Clark because Aaliyah Edwards is good, very good. But Washington Mystics, they kind of in the same boat as Indiana. They get to that fourth quarter and they can't finish it. And they've had a couple of games where they've done what they needed to do, but same thing. Trying to think who else. The girl she just had a couple of good games, but now I started to hear it. Once somebody has a good game, you start hearing their name more and more, right? The girl, Fibish from New York. She's been playing good. And not for nothing, we've only seen her a couple of games, but every time she plays, every time she gets significant minutes, or at least I got to check her stats a little bit more, but at least the games that I've seen her play, Alyssa Peely in Minnesota has been tight. She's been getting some good minutes. So, it is what it is. But I think these rookies, the biggest problem with the rookies as I see it is a lot of these rookies are just not getting enough playtime. And you see what happens. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Rakea Jackson, Cameron Brink, when she was healthy, they were getting legitimate minutes. So they were getting quality time on the court. And, Cameron Brink may not have been scoring at a high pace, but Cameron Brink was swatting stuff all over the place. Her defense was off the chain. I think Camila Cardoso is just kind of getting overshadowed because everybody's trying to focus on Angel Reese. But Camila Cardoso is just, she's a defensive presence. They're not using her for offense. So, and I think eventually that'll catch up with Angel Reese. Because I think, quite honestly, I think Angel Reese is just out hustling everybody down low. And I've said this before. I think she gets that from her Uncle Shaq. Y'all thought that was a big deal because Shaq picked Angel Reese for Rookie of the Year? Like, come on, man. They both went to LSU. And he got a relationship with the girl. Like, took care of that shouldn't have surprised nobody. Nobody. But I tell you what, man, it's the one thing, and I'll just chalk this up from me being a child of the 70s. My birthday was last Friday. I just turned 54 years old, man. And I tell you what, a lot of these fans these days are soft as pie. Like, I don't get it. Like, if you say something bad against somebody, against their favorite player, man, you think you would have cussed out their mama. And it's like, you can't have a back and forth. I just remember back in the days where, well, Jordan is the best. Well, no, Clyde Drexler is the best. No, this dude is the best. Or like, you had legitimate arguments for a lot of people. Karl Malone, John Stockton, Reggie Miller, the New York Knicks versus the Bulls, and the Pistons and the Bulls, and the Lakers and Boston. Like, you had legit beefs, arguments about who the best player was. Magic and Bird was a legit rivalry because every time them jokers stepped on the court, you was going to see a show. They were going at it. You can't even have that discourse nowhere. Now, you can't do that no more now. Now it's like, if you don't like who I like, you a hater, you trolling, and everybody immediately gets personal. Immediately gets personal. Daryl, where you from, man? What part of Ohio? I'm an Ohio boy myself. Cincinnati born and raised. So yeah, man, people just soft these days, man, and it's annoying. It's annoying. Like, you got to be, I'm objective. I played football at the highest level. So when I look at people playing a sport, I don't care what sport it is, baseball, hockey, soccer, doesn't matter. I look at it like I'm sitting in the film room. And I know eventually I'm going to come to a play where I screwed up. And the way we was brought up in college and in the pros, if you screwed up in the game, you might have a perfect game and then you make one play, one bad play. That's the play they're going to run back in the film session 12 times. Because that was the coach's way of letting you know, regardless of how good you think you are, you can always get better. And you make mistakes like everybody else in this room. And fans seem to forget that, or that they just didn't have that. And I tell you what, it's almost like, and a lot of Iowa fans are like this. A lot of Caitlin Clark fans are like this. And I count myself as a Caitlin Clark fan, but my perspective is totally different. When I used to coach Little League football, you would get them parents that didn't want you to coach their kid hard. They don't want don't yell at my kid. And then they come back and why isn't my kid starting? And all of that kind of stuff. Those type of parents remind me of the type of fans that we deal with now on social media, on Twitter, keyboard warriors. They want to say anything they got to say. But if you just not co-signing their favorite player, you don't know what you're talking about. None of that. JP, I appreciate that, brother. You got to say it twice because I am a twin. I got a twin sister. So, yeah, man, it's just, you see a lot of that stuff, man. A lot of that stuff. And it's annoying because it's not, just because I say Caitlin Clark turns the ball over too much, that don't mean I hate her. I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan, and I want to see her succeed. Because let me be clear, because this is one of the questions I was going to pose. Let me say it now. Shoot. Hold on. Like this was a legit question that I was going to ask. Is Caitlin Clark entering MVP territory? And the reason I'm asking that now is because, like what I was about to say was, if Caitlin Clark did not turn the ball over so freaking much, she would be in the MVP territory. Yo, Jesus says, man, come on, dog. Nah, we don't play that. We don't play that. I ain't gonna put you out, but I'm gonna delete that comment, bro. My motto here is I will keep it 100 with you, but I'm gonna leave that toxic on the bench. So, let's not do that. And you did it twice. So, I'm gonna see you later. Like, come on, man. We all grown ups here, and let's be cool. I don't want none of that nonsense in my chat. My team, that's how I'm gonna run it. But yeah, man, I think Caitlin Clark would be a legit MVP candidate if she didn't turn the ball over so much. So to me, that's my criticism of it. That and her dribbling ability. I think the dribbling will get better. But thank you, JP. Appreciate that, bro. I think her dribbling will be better. Just as she gets more comfortable with it. But sometimes she dribbles herself into trouble. And I look at this as compare her to somebody like Kennedy Carter, Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Plum, Arike, Kalia. Look at other guards and how they handle the ball. I just think she needs to be just a little bit better with her ball handling skills. That's it. That's just my opinion. A lot of people don't agree with that. And that's okay. If she would have stayed healthy, yeah. Because, and this is just my opinion, I think everything, all of the hype that Angel Reese was given would have upped her game a little bit. Because if you ever looked at Cameron Brink, she got long arms. Just like you look at, she's not a post player, but you look at Breanna Stewart. Breanna Stewart, I never realized this. I didn't realize this when she was in college. I didn't really realize Breanna Stewart is 6'4", but Breanna Stewart got damn near a 7-foot wingspan. Cameron Brink is like the same way. She got that crazy long wingspan, and she got them long ass legs, and she can jump pretty good. She can jump pretty good. So, she was putting in work. Cameron Brink. Let me see it. I'm looking this up, and mind you, Cameron Brink done been hurt for. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one. I want to see how many blocks she had. I want to see how many blocks. Cameron Brink had steals, blocks. Will it tell me? Cameron Brink had 34 blocks before she got hurt. That's pretty damn good. At the time she was blocked, she was getting 2.3 blocks a game. So looks like a daughter Clark and her coach. Come on, man. Man, I'm about to start getting y'all up out of here, man. Like, keep that nonsense out of my chat, bro. Look up Kobe Bryant's turnover rate. Yeah, I mean that makes sense when you a ball handler. So you're not wrong. You are not wrong. So, yeah, she can do both. I think she's gonna have a better. At least I'm hoping that she has a better second half of the season after this long break. Because I made the joke earlier when they were going through that crazy schedule in the beginning of the year. I was like, listen, if there was a company out there that had any sense, one of these fitness companies that got their own cryo chamber or O2 chamber, they should have gave that to Indiana. Somebody should have called Caitlin Clark up and been like, listen, I got a cryo chamber. All you got to do is when you home and you got to spare some spare time, here, you can either have this one, keep it at your apartment, jump in it for 30 minutes a night. All of that type of technology exists. I'm surprised ain't somebody ain't tried to hook her up with that stuff. Because their schedule was ridiculous in the beginning. And now everybody else, their schedule is catching up too. Mike, it was like that in the past, but nah, I don't see that now because I see a lot more women at the games now, and I see a lot more women making content and all of that kind of stuff. So it was like that before. I mean, I heard the Bill Burr joke, but I think that's a lot better than it used to be. So, Bobby U says Caitlin Clark has a good handle, at least according to Cheryl Miller. The way she plays, sometimes she will dribble herself into trouble. Yes, but it comes with territory and she'll get better. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. But it is just my opinion that I think her ball handling skills should be just a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. Come on, really? Moses Malone? Come on, dude. Brink would have pushed Reese. Possibly. I think for whatever reason, and you look at the stats of the teams, they didn't really keep a lot of young players. And I think that's why it was so hard for these rookies to get any playtime. Like you look at what happened with Kate Martin. She came on the scene and started balling. But Becky Hammond, a good coach, a player's coach. You look at Becky Hammond and you look at Teresa Weatherspoon. And you look at the players they got on their team. And I guarantee you, because I remember a couple games ago, somebody in the chat was saying they wish that because Indiana had an opportunity to draft Kate Martin and they didn't. And they were like, can you imagine Kate Martin and Caitlin Clark on the same team? Yeah, I can imagine that. And Christy Sides probably wouldn't have played her. It'd have been something like that. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint of when you got a coach like Becky Hammond, who's played, they recognize talent. They understand what they see. And sure enough, they put Kate Martin in and it started paying dividends. Is there a reason why Daisha Fair hasn't been picked up? Because I even said, I was like, hey, I'd rather have Daisha Fair than Erica Wheeler. But everybody can't be wrong. You know what I mean? So, Caitlin Clark came within 2 3-pointers, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist of points in the. Yeah, that's possible. Realistically, Caitlin Clark should have 3 triple doubles. Realistically, she should have 3 this year. She had the one game where she was 1 rebound short. I believe 1 rebound or 1 assist short. And then she had another game where she was like 2 assists short. So technically she should have 3, if it was a realistic situation where she could have had 3 this year. So I'm just saying. The WNBA is a toxic environment. That's all right. It ain't no listen, man. The WNBA ain't no different than the NBA. The problem is guys just don't, and this is a guy issue. Take the women out of the issue, out of the situation. This is a guy issue in the media, social media, terrestrial radio. Most guys don't know how to handle or talk about women without either sounding sexist or just wrong, or they go on the flip side and they patronize them, like almost like mansplaining to women how to play basketball. Because let's keep it 100. If you look at how physical the WNBA is now, that's what the NBA used to be. The NBA is soft by comparison, especially in this era of basketball. You can't even touch anybody. These girls is getting slammed on their heads, cracked in the cranium, clothesline, and what makes it worse is the refs are burying the whistle. So the WNBA, go back, and I say this a lot. If you're new to this channel, you'll hear me say this a lot. Go on YouTube and go look up past seasons of the WNBA. Go look up 22, 21, 22, 20. Go look up 2019 and look up the WNBA highlights and look at how physical that game was. That's what I had to do because I was on that bandwagon of these girls is out to hurt Caitlin Clark. They hating on her. They jealous and blah, blah, blah. I was on that tip too because I was like, this don't make no damn sense. So I had to go back and watch what they was doing 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons ago. And let me tell you something. They was getting it in. Don't get it twisted. They were getting it in. So it was I was shocked because I was like, oh, I went back and I watched that Candace Parker's rookie year, the fight that she got into. I was like, oh, that's how they getting down. They wasn't playing. Now, I don't know if the ref situation was as bad as it is now, but as far as the physical play, them women did not play. And this has always been like that. And then once I saw that, I was like, nah, they ain't worried about Caitlin Clark. She taking her rookie lumps like everybody else does. Like everybody else does. I remember when she took that first screen from Breanna Stewart, and I was like, yep, you got to keep your head on the swivel. She ran into a brick wall. That was her fault. And even now, she's still getting used to what you can and can't do in the W because she bitch, moan, and complain a lot. I love Caitlin Clark, but she good at throwing her hands up like, where's the foul? And slamming water bottles and all of that shit. And I'm like, I hate to see that. As a coach, you hate to see that because I'm that dude that would be like, hey, don't get mad, get better. So I would hate to see that in kids throwing tantrums and all that, throwing your helmets. And if a kid threw a helmet on my squad, your ass going to be right there on the bench. Right there on the bench. I've gotten into it with parents before because I remember when I was coaching basketball and this kid, he was a hot shot. Now I'm coaching 10, 11-year-olds, and this kid, had a growth spurt early and thought he was hot shit and just wanted to do anything on the court. And then we call a timeout. I'm like, get over here so we can talk. And he want to walk. And I was like, dude, don't ever walk on my court. Like, and then I had to get into it with his mother because his mother didn't want nobody to coach him hard. So guess what? He ended up going to another team because that's what his coach suggested, or that's what the commissioner of the league suggested. And we ended up winning the championship. Peace. So that, like, stuff like that bothers me, but it is what it is. But when you got that much pressure and you the face of the league now, Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson are the face of the league right now. So, and they keeping it moving. That's a little chink in the armor. That's a little chink in the armor. If I was coaching against Caitlin Clark, I would get somebody to talk shit to her all friggin' game. Because Caitlin Clark does not have a poker face. And that's not I don't even really want to call that a criticism. That's a personality issue. You don't deal with people, you deal with personality. That works the same way whether you are a player or a coach. You don't deal with people, you deal with personality. And Caitlin Clark has the personality where she is very expressive when she is frustrated or upset. And if I'm coaching against her, I want somebody to be in her ear every play, going down the court, say something to her, get her all hyped up, get her out of her game. Because and once you see it on her face, that's when you go at her. That's one of the easiest ways, but that can flip on you too. That can flip on you too, because all of a sudden she get in the groove and start hitting threes. Now you looking stupid. That's when she, pointing to the crowd and poking her lip out like she do, and doing the shrug. And hey, it's all fair game when you on the court. But at this level, you got to pick any advantage you can get. Any advantage you can get. So all these other teams that are about to play, or after the break, they're gonna play New York, right? Everybody should be watching that tape. Indiana at New York. Everybody should be watching that tape. And the first thing you should get from that is, okay, if we go up tempo, we got a better chance because Indiana did it. Why do you think everybody was coming at Caitlin Clark? As soon as she touches the ball, you ain't even reached half court, and you got somebody coming at you 94 feet. Because one team did it. Matter of fact, they probably watched the film from the NCAA games and saw how South Carolina did it. And they said, oh, we're going to do the same thing. So that's what they do. Yeah, SC, Caitlin Clark, she taking her lumps, man. She taking her rookie lumps. And having said that, you look at her stat line. Her stat line is phenomenal. The way they guard her, the way they guard her is crazy. Look at that. 17, 5.8, 8.2, 1.5. Now we gotta, I'm just to keep it real, you got to put the turnovers in there. She averaging 5.6 a game. So she got to get them turnovers right, but still, it's vets that ain't got that stat line and wish they could have it. So, she's doing what she need to do. And I'll say again, if she didn't have that turnover rate, she would be a MVP candidate. I think she still is an MVP candidate. I don't think anybody beating Asia Wilson, but to be a rookie, to be even in the conversation. And I think it's a legit conversation. No, I don't think she would win it, but you could, just based on her stats and what she's doing, You can have a legit conversation. And tell you what, let's do some math real quick. Let me see something real quick. Recent games. Let's do some math real quick. Bust out the calculator here. So if we got she's got turnovers. She's got 145 turnovers. So she got 145 turnovers. Let's say everybody scored off a turnover. That's 290 points, right? I know it's not that big, but I'm going 1-to-1. That's 290 points off 145 turnovers. But she's got 213 assists. So that means she's responsible for 426 points minus the 290 from the turnovers, and she's still plus 136. So let's say the turnovers and the assists cancel each other out. That means she's still responsible for an additional 136 points on top of the 445 points she scored from the floor. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. So, you know, she's doing better than most. What's up, Jacques Cousteau? Yeah, they just woke up a monster. I was still wrong at Christy Size for putting that info out there. She should have kept that to herself. Reese ain't the face of basketball, but she's in the background jumping up and down, screaming, give me the ball, give me the ball. I wouldn't say all of that. She playing her role. Everybody got mad at her for the other game where she was trying to get 2 points so she can get her double-double. I thought that was a little bit suspect, but at the end of the day, that girl had a crazy streak of double-doubles, and she was putting in work. I don't care what anybody say. If double-doubles were that easy, everybody would be doing it. Yes, there are more double-doubles than triple-doubles, obviously, but still, that is not an easy thing to do. Because if it was, everybody would be doing it. There's veterans now that they just recorded 4-year vets, and you just recorded your first career double-double. Meanwhile, she went on a streak of 15 or whatever it was. So I'm not going to discredit her for that. She balling. Yeah, that's that's Captain Obvious right there, bro. I don't think they should fire Sides now. I don't like firing a coach mid-season. And if you do fire her, whoever you bring in you better be bringing in a ringer. If they fired Christy Sides right now, who would they hire? Who would they have to hire? That's the question. If they fired Christy Sides today, who would be her replacement? Because you got to bring somebody in that can just move the crowd. It can't be an interim coach. You got to bring somebody in to move the crowd because they playoff bound, and you don't want to mess up that momentum. You just don't, because in spite of Christy Sides, they still getting stuff done. And like I said, all of this stuff ain't on Christy Sides. Christy Sides don't coach them on how to miss shots, miss layups in the paint, drop passes, turn the ball over. Christy Sides don't coach that. So you can only blame it on Christy Sides to a certain degree. Ultimately, it's on if Christy Sides ain't got nothing to do with Nalissa Smith missing free throws. Christy Sides ain't got nothing to do with Erica Wheeler turning the ball over. When you on the court, you expect to do your job to a certain level of, proficiency. Now, what I will blame on Christy Sides is, and this is the difference between a coach and a good coach, especially at the professional level. You look at Cheryl Reeve, you look at Becky Hammond, you look at Teresa Weatherspoon, you look at Brondello in New York. I think that's her name. I think I said that right. Is it Brondello? But you look at the players on those teams that don't play. You look at I forget what the coach's name is in Las Vegas. Oh, Becky Hammond. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. But you look at those coaches and you look at how many players don't play. That means if you're not good enough to play, you're not playing. If you are, you do. Period. If Erica Wheeler was somewhere else, would she be playing? If Erica Wheeler was in Chicago, would she be playing? If she was in Las Vegas, would she be playing? I don't know. Based on what I've seen from those coaches, if she was in New York, would she be playing? Probably not. So that has a lot to do with it. Oh, Kevin, why you gonna bring up Richie K? Why you gonna hit me like that, man? Why you gonna come in swinging low? You wrong for that, man. How you gonna be disrespecting my coach like that, man? Come on, dog. Come on, man. You coming in, you swinging low, man. That ain't right. That ain't right. Listen, Wheeler, here's what I'll say. Wheeler had to be doing something because she's been to the All-Star game. So at the end of the day, you still got to get voted in. So you got to be putting something on the court. But yeah, she shouldn't be starting. Well, she's not starting, but I don't even think she should be getting the minutes that she's getting. She got what, 5 minutes last game? And that surprised me. That surprised me. That was, let me see them box scores. Because usually she getting like 12 to 15 minutes. And not for nothing, I've become a fan of J.C. Sheldon from Ohio State playing for Dallas. I want to see her play more. Erica Wheeler. She had 4 minutes and 15 seconds on the court. And that's exactly where she should be. As a matter of fact, I would give that up and give more time. Let's get Grace Berger in there. I'd rather see Grace Berger than Erica Wheeler. I don't see much of a drop-off. Grace Berger is a little bit bigger, taller. And the jump shots, it can be worse than Erica Wheeler. Her shooting percentage. So, you know. Joshua Store, Reese has been busted 3 times for begging. Liberty set her straight. How can you, in good conscience, call catching her own missed shots to someone making genius not close? I mean, it is what it is, man. I just don't. That's just how I see it. That's just how I see it. Just it's the same way as I would say, there's no such thing as an ugly win. You either win or you lose. It ain't an ugly win. It ain't a pretty loss. It ain't a moral victory. You either win or you lose. And by that same logic, if the girl got 10 points and 12 rebounds, she got 12 rebounds. I don't give a damn how she got them. How many times do you get rebounds? How many times does Caitlin Clark get rebounds because she just happened to be standing in the right place? It happens all the time. So to me, that ain't no different than somebody might get 6 or 7 rebounds just because the ball bounces their way. Not because they posted up, got good position, and out jumped and out hustled everybody. They just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Or the offense put up a shot and everybody bailed and nobody got in position to get a rebound or get an offensive rebound. So it was a little bit easier. So, I mean, you can look at that from a bunch of different ways. But for me, I'm not going to discredit all the rebounds that she got. Because if it was that easy, everybody would do it and pad their stats like that. But it's not that easy. And that's why I say I don't care if she putting up her own shots. That means you telling me that everybody else under the rim ain't doing shit. They just sitting there. Oh, my bad. Angel's there. Go ahead and get it. Go ahead and get that rebound. No, they're not doing that. Don't work that way. So it could just as easily be somebody that can get up in there, and if she misses a shot, they can take it from her. But they're not doing that because she out hustling everybody under the rim. Period. She might get some gimmies, and she might cherry pick, but everybody does that. That is not anything new. High school, college, NBA, WNBA. That is not anything new. So Westbrook did that for a whole season. He averaged a triple-double like that. He would get his 10 points and then look to assist and try to get every rebound he could, trying to average a triple-double. Was that padded? Absolutely. But they didn't have to let him do that. Caitlin Clark will get some MVP consideration, but if she comes back and averages 20 plus twin the rest of the way, let me be honest with you. In my opinion, if she really wanted to go for a triple-double every game, she could. Because she ain't going to out-jump nobody, but she does manage to get herself in a position to get rebounds. That's the one thing I've always said about Angel Reese. The reason why Angel Reese gets a lot of rebounds is because she knows how to position. I say it as a joke, but maybe she got something from her Uncle Shaq. She gets position for rebounds. So, it is what it is. And I think Caitlin Clark, if she really wanted to do that, she could do that. She could do that. And the time that she missed by a couple of rebounds, there was situations where she was in the same spot with Aaliyah Boston or Nalissa Smith, and she just ended up letting them take the rebound. But she could have had it. She could have legitimately had it. Number one sign of a bad coach with a talented team, a team that plays the level of their competition, which has, yeah. Yeah, it's just like, it's tough to even say it like that, man. Because when you talking about X's and O's, Kev, it makes no sense. It makes no sense when you had the success you had in New York. In New York, the best team at the time, New York had the best record in the WNBA. And y'all ran them out the gym in the first half. And the second half, y'all just wanted to coast. And I blame that on Christy Sides. Now, there were some missed shots and some things that didn't have to make it that close. But for the most part, why didn't you keep running? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That was a prime example of coaches getting too smart for their own good. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. You found something new that was working. Keep working it. But if they can clean up their second half, they're gonna be all right. That's how I see it. If they clean up their second halves, they will be just fine. So I really wish that I was hoping to see the showdown between Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu. Sabrina Ionescu was one of my favorite players because she was the first person, because of her being the three-point contest when I first started watching the WNBA. She was the first person I really saw. Her and Kelsey Mitchell, but y'all know my situation with Kelsey Mitchell. That's a personal thing. But Sabrina Ionescu, saw her in the three-point contest. She got busy. So I started noticing her. And just like anything else, just like when you go to a new school, the first person you meet, the first name you remember, that's the first person you look for, talk to, get comfortable with, and that person eventually becomes your friend. That's the best way I could explain it. And then slowly but surely, I learned other people, other names, other teams, things of that nature. So it just progresses. So, of course, everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu. So, do I think, can they improve with sides? Yeah, they can. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you think about the games that they've lost. They got blown out a couple times, but they've had some close games. They should have 2, possibly 3 more. I would say they should have 3 more wins. because they should have beat Dallas. And I know earlier in the season, before they won their first game, there were 2 games that they should have won, and they just down the stretch they just couldn't get it together. So, yeah, they can get better. Absolutely. And really, is it getting better, or is it the women on the court hitting their shots on a particular day? To me, that's what it all comes down to. Instead of 3 for 11, what happens if Caitlin Clark is 5 for 11? It's a different story. If Kelsey Mitchell doesn't go cold from 3 and she hits 2 or 3, maybe 4 deep shots, it's a different story. So it all comes down to who's hitting the shots. They get that little stretch where Caitlin Clark is making all those passes, but nobody's making shots. What happens is instead of going 0 for 5, they go 2 for 5. Every possession counts. Then you can go back and look at how many missed shots, all that kind of stuff. It matters. I'm trying to get about scores. Shot charge. There we go. The players, all periods, 4th period. Like, look at this. Like, look at all of these shots. That's in the 4th quarter. But if you go, like, look at the whole game. This is Dallas on the right. You look at Indiana. You look at Indiana. And look at all of these. Look at all these missed shots on the perimeter. All of this. Let's just say that they made 3 more shots from deep. They still missed a lot of shots. They even had a good mid-range game today. They didn't take a lot of mid-range shots. 1, 2, 3, 4. I give them 4. Normally, a mid-range shot, in my opinion, these are all mid-range shots. Anything that's not in the paint and in front of the arc. Those are all mid-range shots. And you look at how many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 mid-range shots compared to 1, 2, 3 mid-range shots for Indiana. That's the biggest problem, I think, at least for Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, because she's given up. I don't know if she just don't practice it, because they're open shots. And I made that reference earlier about like Kennedy Carter. Kennedy Carter always hits from right here and right here. And she'll drive the lane and is not afraid to stop right here, stop and pop right around here. And you're looking at about a 8 to 12 foot shot. And she makes most of them. That's the difference. But after seeing what she did, after seeing what Caitlin Clark did, that last game against Dallas, that's a nitpick because she was getting to the lane. She was attacking the basket. So she was getting her points that way. Whatever you got to do. But when she sit back and just shoot 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, if she's not hitting 5 or 6 threes, it's going to look like a bad game for her. So I was so glad that she decided to take it to the rack. It makes a difference. Bobby, I agree with that, bro. I agree with that. Bobby, I agree with you. And JP, I agree with you. Some of her adjustments don't make sense. Some of her in-game substitutions don't make sense. What's up, Hunter? Yeah, they've been saying that. And now at this point in time, I agree. She does deserve Rookie of the Year. Because she's doing stuff that nobody's ever done. So I agree. Today, that can change when they come back from break. Because I believe when they come back from this month-long break, there's going to be some teams that couldn't hit a broadside of a barn, and they're going to struggle. They're going to have about 20 games. Excuse me. They're going to have about 20 games left before we get to the playoffs. So there's going to be about a 10-game stretch where these teams are trying to brush off the rust. And that's where Indiana has the opportunity to gain some ground. So we'll see what happens and how that works. That's why I think it's going to be, and especially all of these teams where they got players in the Olympics, because they're going to come back fatigued from all that travel, all of those games, and just the stress of the Olympic experience. That is going to wear you down a little bit. It's going to wear you down. So they have an opportunity, but they got to be on point. They ain't got nobody in the Olympics. And they have an opportunity to gain some ground and just have a good showing in the playoffs. Just have a good show. That's all they need. So, I want to see the All-Star weekend. I want it to be fun, and I hope they get a ton of viewers, and they probably will. And it'll be interesting because, everybody's going to say, hey, this is the most viewed All-Star game since whatever year. But that's part of the Caitlin Clark effect. Just keep it rolling. I was hoping that they would wait a little bit longer before they got that media rights deal. But they're going to look like they're going to get about 250 to 260 when everything's said and done. Right now, it's 2.2 billion. Billion with a B. 2.2 billion over 11 years. So that works out to about 200 million a year. Plus, there are some other things that they can do that gives them a little bit of extra cash. And that, I believe, is going to take them around the 250, 260 mark. But here's where you gotta look at it. They go from 50 million, 40 to 50 million broadcast rights to over 200. That's huge. That's huge. And I had to look this up to make sure I was correct. How do media rights work? Rights acquisition. Once the content is created, i.e. the actual games, the rights holders, such as sports leagues, companies, record labels, acquire the rights to distribute or broadcast the content. Negotiations. The right holders then enter into negotiations with broadcasters to sell licensing and broadcasting rights. And what that means is they are going to pay. That means NBC, CBS, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, Amazon Prime, Ion, all of these companies, they are in a bidding war to say, hey, I want to get 3 games. I want to get a 10-game package with the Indiana Fever. I want to broadcast 10 games this year with the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. And the WNBA can say, well, Caitlin Clark is the hottest athlete in the world right now, so the price is going to be high. And the network says, we will pay it. That's when you get into a situation of what can the networks pay? How much can Amazon pay? Their pockets are deep. ESPN, their pockets are deep. CBS, ABC, their pockets are deep. Because now we're talking about Super Bowl type stuff, Super Bowl type money. They make their money off the advertising. Because the broadcasters, ESPN says, hey, Caitlin Clark is playing this Saturday. Commercials are going to cost $50,000 for a 30-second spot, and they're going to go up from there. That's how they make money. Why do you think the commercials in the Super Bowl are such a big deal? Because the company's got to pay so much to get that commercial on the air. They paying $3, $4, and $5 million, probably more than that, for a 30-second spot. That's why these commercials are just off the chain, because everybody wants you to remember their commercial, because that's prime broadcast real estate. That's what the WNBA has right now with Caitlin Clark. Everybody wants to show their commercial when Caitlin Clark is playing basketball, because the most eyes are going to be on her. To me, that's why it was so important for her to be on the Olympic team, because now she's the global brand. She's already the most recognized feature in the country right now. You put Caitlin Clark next to Steph, you put Caitlin Clark next to anybody, LeBron, you put Caitlin Clark next to Bryce Harper, you put Caitlin Clark next to Ohtani, anybody, the line for autographs will be just as long. That's how popular Caitlin Clark is right now. And because her visibility is at such a high level right now, it is red hot. Everybody's willing to pay money for her. I saw somebody on Facebook said, I wish all of the money they get could go to the players. And I was like, it does go to the players. It's not a one-to-one transfer. They got a $200 million deal. So all of a sudden the player's going to get it $200 million. Well, that would be stupid, because the owners have got to get paid. They own the team. Then you got to pay for the facilities. Then you got to pay your coaches. Then you got to pay for travel. You got all of this other stuff. Then you got to pay your media team. Then you got to pay your production team. Why do you think the WNBA draft, the draft night, was such a small scale, low production event? They don't have the money for it. They don't have the money for a full tilt NBA style advertising blitz about the NBA draft or the WNBA draft. I don't know what the WNBA's media team looks like, but it's not like the NFL or the NBA. So the WNBA is finding themselves in the position because some of the mistakes they made. Remember when they didn't broadcast Chicago Sky's first game? And then, of course, everybody started throwing the isms around, and you want to pump up the white girl, but not Angel Reese. And it's like, no, the problem is that the production company that has to film the games and put all those cameras in the stands and film everything, that costs money that the team has to pay for. And they had a prior obligation. And the reality of it was the WNBA wasn't paying that much money, so they had to do a baseball game that they had already agreed to do. So it wasn't like they was going to drop everything. They're not going to drop that money. The production team isn't. Now it might be different next year, because out of this 200 something million are the WNBA team's going to get their own production crew, or that everything changes because now you got the money to do it. Like, people don't really understand what it means to go from 50 million to 250 million. That is a lot of breathing room. That is a lot of breathing room. So, yeah, but Kat, that's a good point, because now, shout out to State Farm, because they were the first company to really jump on board with Caitlin Clark and the players. I mean, they was really doing that when she was at Iowa. That's why these college NIL deals are so important now, because the NIL is not a college thing. That is a contract with the player that goes beyond the college experience. They can keep those deals and continue success. What happens to these people that have a huge social media following but don't make it to the WNBA or the MLB or the NBA or the NFL? What happens to them? They still got that reach because of social media. So that's just another avenue that companies, State Farm and other people that want to endorse athletes, That's just another avenue where they can make money. So it continues to work. So maybe next year, the production value for the NBA draft will be a little bit better. And then the year after that, and here's the key. By the time Juju Watkins is ready for the WNBA draft, that experience is going to be a lot better than it was with Caitlin Clark. That's what it should be. Yeah. Wilson did that. But guess what? How quick did they sell out? You're not going to be in a situation where you can, the demand this big, there's not too many companies that can fulfill needs like that super quick. It's just going to take time. Now, next year, everybody will be ready. There'll be 8 million Caitlin Clark jerseys in all different colors and flavors and all of that kind of stuff. I made a joke. I got a friend that I work with. Her daughter lives in Iowa, went to school in Iowa. So I made a joke with her. It's like, hey, give me some of those Caitlin Clark flakes, the Caitlin Clark cereal. See if she can, scoop me up a box. You can't find them nowhere, especially not in damn Iowa. But next year, now they know what they're dealing with. So now, guess who's going to have a number one jersey sold next year? And guess who's going to be in stock all year? They're going to make sure of that. They're going to make sure of that. Guess what's going to be the number one jersey sold at Christmas time this year? And not to mention, and let's not forget about this when we're talking about the money, right? When we're talking about the money. And I'll use the NFL as an example. The teams, Jeffrey Lurie, the Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, the 49ers, the Rams, all of those teams make their money. The Dallas Cowboys, they make their money from the people that come in the stadium, buy the merch in the stadium, the concessions sold. That's how the owners make money, because they fill those stadiums 18 times a year. Why do you think they want to get rid of the preseason and have 18 regular season games? And, that's why a preseason game that doesn't mean anything, it still costs you $10 for a hot dog, because that's how they make their money. That's how they make their money. So the point I'm trying to make is the owners of these teams get that money. That money gets poured back into the team. Facilities, salaries, stuff like that. On top of that, now you add the broadcast media rights. That's extra on top of that. The example I was using was all of these teams in the NFL make money. They make their own money in the individual cities. Then they got the broadcast rights. Then you look at somebody like Kansas City and the whole situation with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And because of the Taylor Swift experience, Taylor Swift made the NFL an additional like $300 and something million from all of the merch that they were selling to Taylor Swift fans that were buying Kansas City Chiefs merchandise. When WNBA gets it together, everybody's going to eat. So you add all of this stuff to the pot, and what that does is now these organizations have a lot more money. Again, we going from 50 million. So the broadcast rights, they got to split 50 million amongst all of the teams. Now you got what, 12 teams? So now, let me see. How many WNBA teams? Is it 12? 12 teams. So now you got 12 teams. Let's do some math again. So now you got 12 teams. So 50 million. 50 million divided by 12 teams. That is 4 million. Little over 4 million goes to a team. Right? I got you, Kev, but let's just go 12. Just keep it simple for this year. So they got to split 50 million. So that is 4 million a team. That's not a lot of money. When you consider the salaries that you got to pay, travel expenses, That's why the plane trips was such a big deal. That's why when the report came out that the WNBA is going to lose 50 million this year, they're going to lose 50 million because of the planes. They weren't expecting to pay an additional 25 million for the charter flights, but they had to do it because it became a security issue because of the Caitlin Clark effect. Everybody was visible and it became a security risk, so they had to do it. They didn't want to do it, they had to do it. They didn't know there was going to be, people at the airports taking pictures and paparazzi and everything that happens when you go mainstream. That's what the WNBA had to deal with, and they wasn't necessarily ready for it. So they were trying to keep up. But now, so you go from 4 million a team. So let's just go with the deal. So they're going to get 200 million divided by 12. So now you got 16.5 million per team. Now you got 16.5 million to deal with. And let's say they get what they want. And instead of 200, they go, let's say they get 250. So now you got 20 million to deal with. On top of what you bring in the arena. And the teams ain't making that much money. The reason why Vegas makes so much money because they in Vegas. They can fill a 10,000 seat arena. But Chicago Sky is an 8,000 seat, I believe. A lot of these arenas are like 5,000 to 8,000 seat arenas, places for small concerts, things like that. They're not playing at a huge place. Vegas is just a perfect location for a professional team because people will buy tickets and might not necessarily come to the game. They can sell tickets at the casinos. This is part of your package when you come down here and stay for a weekend. We give you tickets to a Aces game and $100 to blow at a slot machine. But that counts as a ticket sold. So they can do that. There's a reason why the Las Vegas Aces were the first team to sell out season tickets last year. And everybody's catching the strays. Everybody's catching the benefits of all of this publicity. Now everybody knows who Asia Wilson is. Everybody knows who Breanna Stewart is. And I'm talking specifically about all these people that that never watched the WNBA. I counted myself as one of those people. I never watched the damn WNBA. I watched the WNBA sparingly the year Kelsey Mitchell got drafted. And when I say sparingly, you had to search to find the games. And then Sabrina Ionescu happened. I didn't even know that video clip of Kelsey Mitchell or Kelsey Plum throwing the t-shirts in the stands. I didn't even know that was Kelsey Plum. I used to see that I saw that for months. And I was like, who is this girl throwing the thing in the crowd? I thought she was somebody that picked out the crowd. It wasn't until I saw Kelsey Plum on Kevin Hart's thing where they sit in the cold tubs. I was like, oh, that's who she is. So I'm saying all that to say I was not a WNBA fan. I was not invested in the league whatsoever. But I have become invested in the league. I bought merch. I bought the season pass. I spent my $40 for it. Support the league. I'm going to buy some golf shirts and some stuff like that. I'm going to support the league. I can say Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, Ariel Atkins, Ryan Howard, Kalia Copper, Arike Gumbawale, Marina Mabry, who else? Aaliyah Edwards. Just the fact that I can name all of those names off the top of my head is ridiculous because I could not do that less than a year ago. But that just goes to the point that I'm invested. What's up, JT? My dude. Just putting up some Olympic apparel, you know. Good to see you, bro. But yeah, man, that just shows I guess I'm a victim of the Caitlin Clark effect because I was watching her the first year they lost to LSU, the second year they lost to South Carolina. And I was pulling for Caitlin Clark until she played South Carolina because I'm a Dawn Staley fan. She a Philly girl. So I understand the hype when the LSU thing happened. And I understand when, Angel Reese wanted to be the villain and all that kind of stuff. People tend to forget that the reason why Angel Reese is not as popular is because she came from LSU, and a lot of people don't like Kim Mulkey. Don't forget about that whole situation. There was a minute last year in 2024 college season, they didn't even know if Angel Reese was going to come back to the team. So she had her own issues that she was dealing with. Lucky for her, she got it together, and you see what's happened. So, yeah, JT, I'm ready for the Olympics. I'm ready for track season. It's Sha'Carri season in the Olympics. So yeah, I want to see it. I got to see them, JP. I haven't seen any pictures yet, so I'm gonna go check it out. But listen, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. Good chat tonight, man. Chat was tight tonight. Appreciate everybody joining in. JT, don't be a stranger, bro. Make sure you subscribe and like everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like. We're gonna keep this thing growing, man. We're gonna keep this thing growing. So I appreciate everybody from stopping by. I will be streaming tomorrow, so I can keep my streak going. I've been live every day this week. Same thing tomorrow. I'll be live at 9 p.m. And we're gonna keep this thing moving. So y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Be safe. God bless. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.